Welcome back, everybody. My name is Emily Gear. I'm a transformative energy healer, twin flame energy healer, and a multidimensional channel. I have come back to do your full moon in Gemini reading that will take place over December 11th and 12th, depending on where you live. So we're going to do a reading on that for the collective, just to see what energies are coming in. I'm hoping for it to be fairly short and fairly laid back because I am not in the greatest of physical health at the moment, and also am just emotionally and mentally exhausted, as many of you are. I know many of us are in the same boat right now. So before I start, just letting you know, this is my website where you can schedule to have a private session with me, either for readings or energy healing. Also on that website are some offerings at a slightly lower price point. A 17 card reading and a number of channelings that I've just offered, either for past life or for life purpose. I want to sort of steer you toward those for a while because I do not have a lot of live times left for the next 2 months. And that is simply because my life is at a breakneck pace at the moment. So do check those out. But without further ado, let's get going with the reading. There you guys are. We're going to use the Druidcraft Tarot today. So as we get started, I've already opened the records. I'm going to just ask Source Creator for the energies that we should expect to encounter with this full moon in Gemini on December 11th and 12th of 2019. Whatever messages are important for us to receive now. As you know, I'm not an astrologer. I channel my messages primarily through Source Creator or through the Akashic records, many times through Source Creator, through the Akashic records. And somehow they seem to match up with the astrology, but I am 100% not going to claim to have any knowledge of what's going on up there. Okay. So give us some messages, please, for the collective about what we can expect to experience with the full moon coming up in a few days. What can the collective expect to experience with the full moon that's coming in, please? I also like to shuffle on camera, so it takes me a little longer to get these cards out. Especially when I have a deck that's bigger than my hands, like this one. Definitely a lot of looking inward I'm seeing here already. Let's see what else wants to come out. I think it might be a little uncomfortable too. Whatever is coming up, a lot of it's going to come out of your childhood. Let's get a few more cards, please. Childhood or past lives. Okay. The first two cards that came out were the Six of Cups with the Four of Swords. And I'm definitely getting a really strong feeling of really deep introspection here. A kind of leveling with yourself that maybe you haven't done to this level, or maybe you've been in a cycle of it, honestly. If I'm being honest here, I feel like he is sick of this. And he's going inward because he feels like he doesn't really have any other choice right now. He doesn't have anywhere else he can go. It's feeling a little drab, a little, this feels a little bare, like a winter of the soul, kind of. So it could be a dark night of the soul. I almost feel like, here's this guy here. It's a Six of Cups. And I'm getting the sense with the two of these cards that there is like this questioning of what have I been doing? Who did I think I was? Maybe like almost like an identity crisis, and going within to kind of see where the roots did not support, the roots that you laid down, whatever they were, did not support the being or the tree that grew. So I feel like maybe there's some questioning here going on. Maybe there's a shift or a change that is being considered, because on some level it feels like we're leveling with ourselves about what's real for us and about what we might have imagined in our heart of hearts, really feeling, maybe not heart of hearts, but what we might have kind of imagined was true. And maybe it was a little bit of an illusion. Maybe it was a little bit of I don't want to say a fabrication, but it was almost like a delusion. Let's put it that way, where maybe you thought things were going to go quicker than they did, or better than they have, or maybe you were a little bit deluded about how much work needed to be done, or how quickly something would come together. In either case, I feel like it's like this time of going back to the drawing board and being really honest with yourself about things that maybe you had overly romanticized, overly fantasized, that you had cooked up into this sort of dreamlike world. Okay, that's how I'm feeling the Six of Cups today in this situation. Of course, I read the cards differently every single time I read them, because it depends on what energies are coming in. But I feel like he's looking out over this kind of idealization of a situation and is like, was that real? Is this even real? That's the feeling I'm getting. Now, with this Three of Cups coming out, I'm actually getting the feeling with this Three of Cups that it's like, first of all, this is a community event. Like everybody, or most everyone, if they are on some level awake or maybe an introspective being, that they're asking themselves, is this even real? Was I kidding myself with this? What's real here? Let me be honest with myself. And that's painful. That feels like a painful situation. But I also feel like there's support in the community, because everyone is kind of in that boat right now. It's not just you who somehow blew something out of proportion or was not in touch with the grounded reality of something. Everybody is having to get honest with themselves about something, okay? It could be different for everybody. These cups are they're toasting in front of the full moon. So I feel like that's kind of a nod from the universe saying, like, listen, this feels difficult right now, but this is actually a new gateway for you. This is actually, once you can get honest with yourself about whatever this is, there's a celebratory energy there. There's like, you've passed, the baton's been passed to you or something. Now you are doing your part of the race off and running. There's something about collaboration and community here that's really important, and kind of the being able to lean on each other, knowing that you're all going through it. And that is to lean on folks that are appropriate to lean on, right? So I just want to be really clear, like there are definitely there are people who are your tribe and people who are not your tribe, right? And so you have to be really honest with yourself about who that is too. I don't know why that came out necessarily, but maybe somebody needed to hear that. And so oversharing in the wrong environment is maybe not the way to go about this, but there are people who you can trust, and I think you will know who they are. And if you don't know who they are, it might be that that is one of the things you need to get really honest with yourself about. Like, are you trying to control your own sense of vulnerability? Are you having trouble being vulnerable? Are you not being honest with yourself about your own personal needs for community? Okay. I do feel a community sort of feeling around this. That here's this guy, he's often alone, but we don't actually exist in a vacuum. We exist connected to others, and we are all part of a whole. And so anything we're experiencing internally is not really experienced on our own. It's experienced as a community on some level. So this may be a time of coming in contact with those people, of putting, like, burying the hatchet. He's holding one sword here. I feel like this guy in this picture is really representative of what I feel like is coming in for you. Not necessarily the meaning of the card, but just the general ethos of this whole picture. It's as if he's there guarded with one sword on his lap, standing alone, going inward. And how long have we been doing that? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We probably still need to do that. But now there's this getting real with the illusion of standing alone, being a lone pillar standing, right? And we were talking in one of the last channelings about the pillars being knocked down, the calcified things in our lives being knocked down. Are we getting honest with ourselves about those illusions? And those illusions are the pillars, are the calcified things in our lives that are getting sort of destroyed by this torrent of, could it be emotional energy? I do feel some emotional energy coming in. It's not showing up in the cards right now, but they're kind of showing me again that like tidal wave of emotional energy. Sorry if my dogs bark. And this is not experienced alone. And it can be, sorry. I had to tell the dogs to stop barking, sorry. So yeah, I am feeling some emotional stuff coming in that you are going to need to be honest about, and also look at your ability to be vulnerable or to ask for help. Asking for help seems really important right now. And being able to be that support while also receiving support, right? There are so many of us that just came out, but I'm totally one of these people that is constantly giving the support, but I don't want anybody to, I don't want to feel like I give up control in any way to other people sometimes. Like by allowing them to give me advice, it's like it suggests that I don't know everything, right? Well, obviously I don't know everything. I'm actually even really honest about that, but somewhere deep down, I don't want to feel that. Of course, somebody has to call me right now. Hang on. So deep down, I don't, obviously I admit it all the time, but you don't want to feel that way. You want to feel some kind of control or power over your life. So again, getting honest about where you need to be vulnerable and where you need to release control, or where you've been, even more than that, that might be your specific issue, but more than that, where you've been lying to yourself about things like, I am totally in control. Okay. The next cards that came out were the King of Pentacles with the Two of Cups and the Princess of Pentacles. What I feel like here, look at how she's just really scrutinizing this pentacle. I I feel like part of this whole process then is, again, getting really honest and grounded about the connections in your life, whether this be some sort of partnership, like romantic partnership, relationship partnership, or is this your family that you constantly, allow to walk on you? Or maybe is this somebody who's consistently triggering you? And you have to really look at that, really study it, become the student in order to gain this kind of mastery that you're wanting, the kind of stability that you're wanting. Now, the King of Pentacles is a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo energy. Right now I'm reading it kind of as a Capricorn energy because we've just had Jupiter move into Capricorn, and that feels like a significant push for realism, to be realistic. And so to me, that's like, all right, here's my connection. What's really going on here? And what I want to say here is there's a mirror between them, right? They've each got a cup that matches. Whatever is you're experiencing in this other relationship, whether it's, again, whatever kind of relationship it is, whatever is bothering you or even whatever is making you feel great is a reflection of what you're seeing in your own pentacle, okay? That is a really clear way to see what is real. What have I been lying to myself about, or what have I been really honest about to myself about? You could find yourself in that position where you're like, okay, well, I've been really honest with myself about the fact that I don't know everything, but I've been lying to myself about the fact that somewhere deep down, I still don't want anybody's help. You know what I mean? That's a self-sabotaging energy. I'm just outing myself here for all of you, but that's what I do. So, and so there you go. There's some truth, right? I just dug up some truth for myself, and that's what you guys need to do or will be supported in doing in this full moon, under this full moon. All right, let's get some more information. What are the shifts that we can expect in the collective with the energy of this full moon? I keep getting this card, poised. Poised. This keeps coming out. Something really great is coming in. I just don't know when. So let's see what else wants to come out here. What other shifts should we expect? What other shifts should we expect in the collective, please? Well, I think we can safely say that this is really preparing you for something. This is kind of catching like all the maybe you've been working on some really, okay. You might have been working on a lot of difficult stuff for a really long time, right? Who hasn't? Like, this has been quite a year. There will still obviously be more coming in. But this is really preparing you for a greater opening, poised, a greater opening, greater growth, greater expansion, greater ascension. It may even be happening now. Like, we're absorbing a lot of light. That's why you feel like shit. Okay? If any of you are in that place, like, what I have found is part of, the way that part of the ascension process works is we are bombarded with light. Our cells, our bodies, our energy bodies, our mental bodies, our emotional bodies, every part of us responds to that by absorbing it. And it displaces an extraordinary amount of darkness. And as that comes up, it is still part of you, right? So you are then transmuting and releasing part of yourself out to the universe to become part of the whole again, which you are already anyway. And other parts are simply being sort of reabsorbed within you. That's kind of how it's shown to me. I have no really fancy esoteric words to describe that, but that is how it's shown to me. So you don't lose any pieces of yourself. It is simply you become larger, you become greater, you become a greater part integrated into the whole. If that makes sense. And as that happens then, so that is why you feel the way that you do right now, but it's preparing you for something even greater. It is a greater step in the ascension, in your growth, in your awakening, whatever you want to call it. It's a raising of the vibration of the entire, not only the planet, because we like to talk about the planet, right? But I'm being shown that everything in existence in the multiverse is also experiencing this, because again, we're all connected. Not one piece of our multiverse can experience this without affecting everything else, right? The next two cards that just came out here is Time to Go and Chaos and Conflict. I'm sorry, my light is really bright. It's very, very dark outside because it's been raining all day. So the cards aren't coming through very well, but Chaos and Conflict and Time to Go. And so that is that darkness that's being triggered up. And it's, as I'm always saying, that this is really preparing you, that this is a part of the releasing of the healing, of the integration that allows you to really align with who you really are more, okay? So it's hard to see here, but this zebra, his stripes are kind of falling off to reveal that he has a giraffe pattern underneath. And that's really kind of what it is. This is getting you in line with, what are you really? Right? Is this zebra really a giraffe? And is this something that we've just simply not been honest with ourselves about? Has this been trying to become apparent for the last 6, 9, 12 months, our entire lives, and we've not been honest about it? But you can never be anywhere. I always say this, and I'm going to keep repeating it to you. You cannot be anywhere that you are not supposed to be. And so this is the time then to allow those stripes to fall away and reveal your spots, okay? Time to go. Time to move into the next phase that you're poised for, in a new level of truth and honesty, which frankly makes sense for Gemini. Very communicative sign, very much having to do with truth and the meaning of that, but also the ways that we can twist it and see it in different ways, right? And how it can reflect in other people, right? I'm just seeing the Gemini sign reflecting, two mirrors reflecting. And when we are not in alignment, how we can distort that so easily. So this is a push out of the distortion. And we might have been distorting in so many cases toward a more rosy, maybe more love and light kind of vision of something that we're doing, some pattern, something in our lives. And that doesn't mean that that was wrong. That was a belief we had to hold for that period of time for a reason. Maybe to allow us to absorb the idea of love and light. Well, now we realize that, there's also a side of us that we need to come into acceptance of, that we have not yet. Okay? It's going to be different for everybody. Know that your community is here to support you, that your partnerships are here to reflect that back to you, to give you a greater sense of mastery, and that you're poised to step into a higher vibratory time. The word vibratory keeps coming through. So it's like, and in fact, we might be going through some of these changes for a little bit, because they're actually showing me everybody being kind of put inside a vibratory chamber, whatever that is. It's like if there was a dome placed over us and there were like specific frequency of vibrations being pumped into it, and that all of our energy fields were being sort of forced to match it, and a lot of stuff being integrated and sort of expelled at the same time. That is just what they're showing me. So it could be that's what all this light is about, the light that's coming in that they're showing me. That is the thing creating this sort of vibratory chamber within the atmosphere of the planet, they're saying, within the atmosphere of the planet. Somewhere between the atmosphere and the actual physical earth and within the earth. This is like a vibratory chamber, and so we're all experiencing this at this time. Obviously, the end result is greater truth and honesty about who we are. Expanded, they're saying expanded abilities, actually. That's not where I was about to go with it, but the word just popped out of my mouth. And accelerated growth and ascension, however you want to put that, okay? Let's see, what else do I want to grab? I'm just going to get a couple cards from the Sacred Power Healing cards. Let's get some advice for everyone who's listening to this right now. Advice for everyone listening to this reading, please, regarding this full moon in Gemini. I'm just talking about the vibratory chamber. So sound is one, and I'm going to get one more. Advice for everybody who is listening right now regarding this full moon in Gemini, please. Definitely a release on the throat chakra level, which also makes sense with Gemini. Communication is what's really coming in with the sound thing at the second. And I am connecting it back to this Three of Cups card about actually discussing this with people in the community, allowing yourself to make certain things real by speaking them. And that's an important, they're just like highlighting that for me, making them real by speaking them. Okay, so that's going to have to do with manifestation power over the next few days. This is a lot of cards here. Okay, so making your manifestations real by speaking it, making your releases real by speaking it. The way that I just spoke mine, right? One of mine. That's not to say there aren't many things for me to address. Do that. Communication is a key, what are they saying, modality for making this important release at this time, to better align you with your path going forward, whatever that may be for you. Okay, then 3 cards popped out together. I'm just going to go over them quickly. Animal Kingdom, Exploration, Divine Consciousness. Divine consciousness reflects very well, because this to me is like that ascension process. This is accepting, there's that light, accepting the light coming in, accepting the transformation, knowing that it is a divine and benevolent presence, even though you're getting this, you're getting these feelings of chaos and conflict, and knowing that you have to leave certain things behind. Those things can be different for everybody, but I'm really primarily still getting the feeling of your own lies to yourself, you've convinced yourself of something because it fit into a dogma, and they're saying there is no dogma. So whatever rule that you've made up about your life, right? And this goes for me too, because I come on here and talk about the rules, whatever those are, and I try to be very open about them because that's what I believe they're like. But if you have created a rule for yourself, we have to realize that there's an innate flexibility in those things as well. And that's the divine consciousness awakening us to the truth of the matter, whatever the matter is, whatever this this delusion you may have been holding on to. Okay. And I say delusion lightly. Like, delusions can be like literally delusions of grandeur where you know, suppress an entire population because you think you're God. But delusions can also simply be, you think you're incapable of holding a full-time job, or you think you're incapable of being a productive member of society, or productive, you know, a good partner to someone. Those are delusions as much as you're deluded to think, you know, maybe you're deluding yourself that no one can ever beat you at something. Do you know what I mean? Like, those are all kinds of delusions. Exploration in animal kingdom, just to me, feel like the energy of being aware of what we don't know, being aware of the fact that our dogma, right, the truth that we've sort of prescribed for ourselves, is always subject to this kind of deconstructive energy that's coming in for us, and that it is actually natural and divinely guided when we go through these deconstructions. All right. And that's basically what I've been saying. So I'm not going to keep repeating myself, but this is another kind of deconstruction. But there's a lot of inward motion for that. But there's also an outward motion as we're invited to and asked to kind of begin to allow ourselves to rely on community, accept help, ask for help, all of those things. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. I thank you guys for listening. If you listened all the way to the end, here again is my website. If you find you would like to set up a private session with me, or check out my offerings for emailed readings. And I thank you guys all for listening, for subscribing, sharing, commenting, even liking. Even if you dislike it, it helps bring people to see my videos. So I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to doing more readings for you soon. Okay, bye-bye.